Hi, I'm Chris Gehringer, Senior Mastering Engineer at Sterling Sound, New York City. I started in live sound. I did that for a couple of years. Then I went to school to learn about engineering. I wanted to pursue it. I was in a band that kind of stunk, so I decided to get behind the board instead of be in front of it. Went to a one-year school, got out, and started working at Green Street Recording. Really learned a lot about the studio, learned a lot about hours and work and becoming a studio slave. Decided to get out and go back to college. Did that for a couple months. Couldn't hack it. Wanted to be in the music business, so started looking for a job again. I found a mastering studio in New Jersey, True Tone Records. That's where I kind of decided that I wanted to do mastering and how it was really about shaping sound and just working with sound. Went from True Tone to Frankfurt Wayne, 3.5 years there, then to the Hit Factory, 11 years there, and now 14 years at Sterling Sound. Really just found that for me, production and mixing and all that stuff is super cool, but I'm really just into sound, and mastering is what it is for me. Sound to me, music to me, it's all vibration, and when music has dynamics and depth and drastic changes and just when it hits you the right way, for me that's what it's all about. It's about feeling and drawing emotion, and the combination of lyrics and the music and the vibration all hitting you, for me, is why I got into this. I just love being a part of it. I love being able to develop the sound and manipulate it and try and make the music have more of an impact and more emotion by turning knobs and making the tone and making the vibration stronger. That's why I really enjoy what I do. Years ago when I was young and listening to records, I found myself alone a lot of times listening to records and would have my own emotional moments with these records or my own enjoyment with each record. And mastering, many times I'm alone here doing my own thing, so it's very easy for me to find myself in that place again, enjoying the music by myself and just focusing on the music. There are so many times I hear like a great song where I'm like, oh my God, I want everybody to hear this. You gotta come in here and hear this. But it's just not the case, is that I'm alone with the record, doing my own thing, working on it myself. And then when it comes out, I'm like, hey, I worked on that song, It's one of those things, you're alone a lot of times while you're working, and you kind of want people to enjoy the music. I want people to have some kind of emotional reaction to the dynamics of the song, something to the song. I mean, lyrically, I have nothing to do with that. And when you hear a great song, a hit song, you just want people to know about the song. I want to share the song with people. For me, gear is, it's important, but it's really about this, what happens with the gear, the way I can utilize it to make my job better and to get what I want out of the project, to get the vibration, to get the sound out of the project. If it looks cool, that's great. It doesn't really matter though. It's about the way it works for me, the way I can, extend myself into the music through the gear, the ease of turning the knobs and getting the sound that I want. There's a lot of gear out there that looks cool and sound, is all that retro and all that stuff, but for me it's just, if it works, I hear it right away. If it doesn't, I know right away. As far as analog and digital, it's the same thing to me. It's the ease of using it and the getting the response and the end product that I want out of it. That's kind of funny because everybody here has different gear, and we've changed gear over the years. All of us constantly put in a new piece of gear or try something new. Yet I think everybody who masters a record has a unique sound that I don't know if it really changes over the span of time. It's just might be a different knife or fork in the process. we all get the same output every time, no matter what the gear is. So gear is kind of a funny thing. It's really more about use and ease of use, and getting to where you want to take the music quicker and more accurately than, you know, something new that might be. You hear a lot of stuff about equipment like, oh, this is really good, you got to try it. And I may try equipment and find it to be whatever. I just find that the gear is just, it's like another finger or something for me to get to where I want to bring the music. I've always felt that when I work on a project, starting out in live music and appreciating live music and seeing an artist, a band perform and feeling that sound, that vibration. When you go to a show, it's much louder than when you listen to records generally. Feeling that is what I want to feel when I listen to a record. I love full frequency audio, no matter what type of music it is. Everything has bass, everything has top end, the vocals need to like be there and full and loud. I love just bringing everything to its fullest without crushing it, just bringing it to its fullest and making it hit you and making you feel it. It's hard to separate acoustics from my life. No matter where I go, it's hard for me to shut off sound in the perspective that I have. I just can't like walk into a place and be like, oh, whatever. I automatically find myself listening to a room or listening to the speakers or finding something that, you know, it just draws me to it every time. When I listen to the radio, if I hear a song that I've worked on, I don't really listen to the song that I've worked on as much as the song before it or after it that I haven't worked on, to see where my sound fits on the radio or against other songs. And when I hear something that I really like, I want to find out who did it right away. Like, oh, that's really good. I respect what that person did. I think with the future of gear is what I'd like to see is, and I have seen it a couple times, is where people who make gear will come in and ask me questions and ask, what do I want to see? What would make this gear better? When we get stuff to test, a lot of times it's already done, so there's really just, do you like it or not, or will you endorse it? I would like to see some young gear makers come in here and say, let me ask all you guys, what do you want? What kind of cue do you want? What kind of steps do you want on an EQ? What kind of, threshold do you want on a limiter? Where they could actually design it for a specific group of engineers, mastering or recording or mixing or live guys, and really work with it instead of just sitting behind a bench saying, this is a recreation of a Pultec, this is a recreation of a Fairchild. Don't be afraid to step out and make new gear. Times have changed. Plugins have changed the face of recording and mixing now. But analog gear is still sought after and still used by a lot of people. For someone like me, I hear it more than I do with digital gear or a plugin. I'd like to see gear makers be more hands-on with the people they're selling it to than just coming up with a great idea or a fancy, cool-looking retro box. Like, come in and let's see what works for me or what works for Greg or Ted or Tom. I really consider myself lucky. I consider myself, just really, really, I can't even put it into words. I'm happy that I stuck with my vision and my dream of being in the music business, because it's what I love to do. I come to work every day and I like being here. I like being around the people that I work with. I like being around the artists that I work with. Now I'm fortunate enough to be around big artists and big projects, and I feel really lucky to be where I am today and proud of myself.